welcome to livealittlehigher.com. This week we continue learning Hodot HaLevavot, the duties of the heart by Rabbi Bahia Ibn Pakuda, and we're learning the gate of serving God. Last week we were discussing if we have free will or we don't have free will, and because there's two different views amongst the Torah. One view is that we do have free will, we can make choices, and depending on our choices we have consequences, and we're punished for whatever is not right in our actions, and we're given merits for everything we do right. And there's another concept that says that Hashem runs the world and He decides everything, and whatever you do is because He allows you to do it, and whatever you cannot do is because He doesn't allow you to do it. We came to the conclusion, and it's good if you want to listen to that class because it really is very, very interesting. But we came to the conclusion that these two discrepancies are not one against the other. They're both right. The sages are right, and what's important is to understand that we are not sabelo todos, like we say in Spanish, that we don't know everything, that there's a lot to the world and a lot about God's ways that are mysterious for us, and that we're not supposed to know everything. And this is also good for us because it protects us from a lot of things. When a person is not so knowledgeable, he has less responsibility towards Hashem, and in a certain way this is a protection for us. So today Rabbi Pakuda comes to give us an analogy that explains this to us in a better way, and he gives an analogy to this can be observed from the condition of a person with weak eyesight. Like a person that has a weak eyesight cannot withstand light, as a person that has no weak eyesight, and a person that has weak eyesight needs a special lens, a very thick lens that will protect him from the sunlight. The more weak the eye is, the more protection he needs. The less weak the eye is, the less protection he needs. So furthermore, we observe in many material devices functions regarding which had we not seen them with our own eyes, but only heard of them by report, we would quickly declare the one who told us about them a liar. So he comes to explain, for example, he takes the astrolabe, which is a measuring device formerly used by astronomers. This device measures things of the universe. It sees that the positions of the stars, the precise determination of each of the seasons, the distances between the disparate things, and many other facts that would otherwise be unknown to us. So if I would tell you, this device, the astrolabe, exists and it does all these things, and we're living in the 1500s, you would look at me and you say, Margie, you're nuts. How can that be? It's impossible. That cannot exist. Or if you would take a person in 1998 and you would tell them, you know what, I have a phone that's in my wrist. It's a watch actually, and you can call from this phone, and I have all my information in my wrist, which is the Apple Watch. You would look at me and says, I saw it in a movie, Dick Tracy, but I don't think this is never gonna happen. It cannot be. So what it's telling us here is that when things become familiar to us, they become normal, but when they're not, they're a mystery for us. We cannot even understand what they represent. I think about my grandmother that died in 1988, and I would think that if she would wake up today and look at the world, she would think that where am I? This is not the world I left. It's such a different world. She would never believe all this exists now. So the same is true for something more familiar to us, which is in common use, like the balance. For what we do not perceive it with our sense of sight, we would not have thought it conceivable that one could weigh truly with a balance in which one part is longer than the other. And what is still more surprising is that on this balance and by means of single stone, many objects varying in weight can be weighed. some of these weighing more, others weighing less than the single stone. So what is even more commonly used is the upper millstone, which the water by slight device causes it to revolve regularly. And when we cast a small stone into a swift current of flowing water, it does not stay on the surface of a single movement, but sinks to the bottom, while the millstone is many times heavier than the stone, and the force of the water by which the mill is set in motion is much less than that of the current. If anyone had told us this and we had not seen it with our own eyes, we would have quickly denied and repudiated this story. We would have said, this cannot be true. We need to look at it to believe in it. So now, if we're ignorant of ordinary accessible things, like things that do exist and we don't know they exist, like how many new things have come out in medicine that we're not aware of, and we don't know they exist, but they do. So it is not surprising that we do not understand the workings of predetermination and justice in the exalted Creator's judgment. So if we cannot understand the world that we have, that we can see it with our own eyes, that we can see that it's there, how can we even come to understand the world of Hashem? This is what Rabbi Pakuda is trying to explain to us. And you know, a human being always has this need to understand. We need to know everything. We want to know everything. We want to be able to understand everything that's going on. This is our whole search in life. Like sometimes a person behaves in a certain way and we cannot cope with it. Because why did he say that? Why did he do that? Why did he behave that way? You know what? It's a mystery. Every person is a mystery. Their mind is a mystery. Their personality is a mystery. The way they talk is a mystery. The way they behave is a mystery. We have no idea. That's the truth. And the more we accept that we don't know, the better it is for us. If we feel that we have to know everything and we know everything and we're the last word in this world, then we're going to have a lot of problems. So the soul asks the mind, you have comforted me in having made me give up the hope of ever grasping this subject because of its subtlety and depth. Reveal to me through the secret of my existence in this world, its aims and purpose, and give me as well as you can in brief some conception of the form of compulsion and divine justice. So the soul is confused. He's telling the mind, please explain to me something that I can understand, at least something I can grasp, because it's very hard to live in a world where there's no understanding. Give me a story. So he tells him, in one of the Indian islands, the inhabitants of a state agreed that each year they would appoint a stranger as their ruler. And they would give the rulership to this stranger for 1 year. So imagine if every country had a president for 1 year, and they would appoint someone that was strange to the place and gave them 1 year. So when his year was over, they would banish him from this island, and he would return to the status he had prior to his appointment. And once they appointed over them a fool who was unaware of their secret plan for him. So this fool, this person that came to work as a president, as a ruler for this island, was not aware of the plan, that he would be banished and he would be taken, everything he did during the year would be taken away from him. He came in good faith to work for this island. He was the ruler. He did the best he could. He made the place prosper. He made everybody rich. He gave great education. He brought excellent medicine. And everything during that year was flourishing. The whole place was flourishing. And at the end of the year, this fool was taken out of this island and he was left with nothing. The way he came in, that's the way he left. And he regretted and he grieved for all that trouble. Then the people decided to appoint as the ruler a stranger who was wise and discerning. And when appointed, he chose one man amongst them and showed him favor and asked him about the customs of the people of this island and their laws. So this person had a little bit more of malice, and he appointed somebody that knew everything that was going on, and he became his friend. And in this way, this person started talking and started telling this ruler what had happened to the last ruler and how they managed the island. So he knew the truth. So once he knew this, he devoted himself to none of the pursuits that had preoccupied his predecessor. So he could care less about education. He could care less if the people prospered. He could care less if they had good medicine. He instead he labored and strove to make everything that was valuable in the state to another state, and all that was precious and dear to him, he put in a different place. So whatever he acquired during that year, he would take it out, send it somewhere else. And in that way, the day he left, and he was banished from the place, he left a rich man. So when his year ended, he was not troubled by leaving. He was not worried that he was leaving his job. He couldn't wait to come to the place where he had all these riches that he had amassed. And so he had happiness in both situations and attained his wishes in both places. So I'm afraid that what happened to the fool who worried himself and lost out in both places, because he lost in the place where he worked and he lost in what he accumulated, will happen to me. And since God has endowed me with you, teach me and reveal to me my condition. So this story is talking about us in this world. If we're a fool, we come to this world and we make this world great, but there's no purpose in what we're doing. We're not thinking about what we're doing in our growth, in our personal avodah to Hashem. Then we're gonna live empty-handed. Like if we come here and the only pursuit we have is the physical world, the material world, and we're not worried about doing kindness and doing other things, then the day we leave this place, we're really gonna live with nothing in our hands. But if we come here and we understand that the world is here for us to harness, to work with it, that the material world is here for us to elevate and take from it whatever we can, and that will help us in our growth, in our spiritual growth, then the day we leave this world, we have a lot of riches waiting for us in the Olam Haba. So the mind says to the soul, you have just given in the parable you related a picture of your state in this world and shown that your condition in it is like that of the king you mentioned. It is now clear to you that you are a stranger here. We're all strangers in this world and will soon depart. We're come here, we're all given a lot of time. Some people come for 80 years, 100 years, 50 years, 20 years. We don't know. We know that we're born, but we don't know when we're going. So you should therefore act as the wise and discerning ruler did. You should come to this world. You should get knowledge. You should get from people who are here that know how the place works, understand the dealings of this world, and you should deviate from his course by words will be of no use to you. My fine language will bring you to no advantage. And the soul says, if I had not desire in this matter, I would not have trouble to investigate what is hidden from me of the nature of my being. So here we understand that we come to a world, we're giving a time, we're giving a purpose, we're giving a mission. We have to come elevate the sparks that are around us. This is our job. And this is the holy work we come to do. And yes, sometimes we have the material that we use as a tool for the purpose for which we come to fulfill in this world. But we should not make the material a means to an end. So I leave you here. I wish you a blessed week. And remember, live a little higher. Thank you.